record and then right before I forget. So these are the things we're going to cover today. It will include an introduction to the BorderLight Festival, so you have more context of the BorderLight team, and then the history of BorderLight. We will talk about what is Fringe, so you have context for what you're applying for and what we're looking for. The things that are new for the BorderLight team this year, how you will benefit from being a part of the festival. We'll answer a couple of frequently asked questions, and then we'll give you a couple of key dates, open it for questions, and then let you move on to the rest of your evening. So I'm going to turn this over to Dale really quickly to talk about our mission and our history.
For those of you who are less familiar with the festival, we're now an annual festival with a mission to present innovative theater, so it's mostly new work, and we're still really focused on work that's bringing cross-cultural understanding and representing more of the community that we don't always hear from. So that's our mission. Our history is sort of summarized there. You can see that we pivoted to an annual cadence starting in 2023, and every other year we do international work, which is curated. So the little structural chart there, you see the bullseye shows sort of the scale of each part of the festival. The international showcase is actually quite small. It's usually under 6 shows. And those are companies, they're usually have a kind of international profile. They're touring companies. They are traveling the world, and we're bringing them to Cleveland often for the first time. And we try to have kind of a variety of genres and geographies in that work. And then the Cleveland Collaborations Ring, that kind of spans both international and Fringe festival work, because we can partner with local nonprofits or theaters to do lots of different kinds of partnerships to bring work into the festival. And then the Fringe Festival, which is why we're here tonight. So that is the part of the festival that's programmed via the application process that we're going to talk about.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
I'm going to talk about a little bit about what is Fringe. We are a Fringe festival, so I think you should have some context for it. The term Fringe was actually coined in 1948 in Edinburgh, Scotland. It happened because local performers felt kind of excluded from the Edinburgh Theatre Festival. And decided to, like artists will sometimes do, is kind of create their own work and produce their own work. That work was on the quote unquote fringes of the city, according to a journalist, and so the term Fringe was coined. Since then, there are hundreds of Fringe festivals throughout the world. BorderLight is actually a part of that web of international festivals. There are Fringe festivals everywhere from Hollywood to Fiji. And it encompasses a lot of different types of performance. So it includes comedy, burlesque, circus work. It includes readings. It can include poetry in some cases. So it really is a word that has a really large kind of stretch that includes a lot of different types of performance. So we're going to talk about the 2024 festival and what's a little bit different for us. So this year, as a part of the festival, we are also offering the opportunity for artists to teach workshops and or classes. Last year, we did a soft launch for the festival. We were introducing workshops into the festival, and so we want to do a more intentional push to provide an opportunity for artists to exchange knowledge between one another. We will also have a dedicated community stage. So audience members last year asked for there to be more free work for them to be able to see. And so we will have a dedicated community stage for audience members to come and participate. We also started a neighborhood ambassador program this year. I think I saw Lori was a part of the people that are here. She is one of our ambassadors for the Buckeye Woodhill neighborhood. We started this initiative because we wanted the festival to better represent Cleveland's diversity as a whole. So that can be across ages, ethnicities, neighborhoods. We felt like we did a really good job in 2023 of continuing to make the festival more reflective of the Cleveland community, but we felt like we could do more. And so we hired individuals from neighborhoods around Cleveland to pay them to spread the word about the call for artists, to make sure that the word about the festival was reaching those neighborhoods. Those ambassadors are also hosting clinics, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But they will also help spread the information about the festival once we announce the festival. So they will be kind of the in-between to connect the BorderLight Festival to the Cleveland community as at large. And then we will have Family Day. One of the things that we found in last year's festival is because the applicants for the festival are different every year, we did not anticipate that there would not be a lot of all ages family-friendly programming. And so this year we are having a dedicated day where on the Saturday, which is the last day of the festival, we will have a couple of hours where families can come in and be programmed around to make sure that we have it is a much smoother experience for those who have larger families. So artists make their own work a lot. So we like to talk about how fringe benefits artists as a whole. One thing that we like to say is we connect artists to, again, that World Wide Web that we were talking about of artists from around the world, but also to each other. We are an encouraging environment that can be a springboard for development. And but what I mean by that is sometimes, artists have an idea, but it hasn't necessarily, they haven't necessarily been able to bring it to fruition. And so we like to serve as a place where you could potentially try something. If you have an idea and it's just a reading and it's just the beginning ideas of something, we want to be a place where you can try it and maybe see what works, see what doesn't, and continue to develop your work. We have had a show come to the festival that was just done as a reading that went on to like a Cleveland Public Theater's test flight, right? So we try to be a place of cultivating new work and being a place of exploration and development. Artists who take part in the BorderLight Festival are also provided 70% of the box office sales. We feel that it is only fair that the artists are the reason that people come to the festival. And so we think that you should receive the majority of the revenue for your particular shows. The activation of unique spaces. So the BorderLight Festival actually takes place in the downtown neighborhood of Playhouse Square. Some shows happen in Playhouse Square venues, but we also activate places like Parnell's Irish Pub, Chabrero Privado, the Hermit Club, some of these places that might be a little bit more cost prohibitive to be able to program things there. And so we provide an opportunity for artists to activate these unique spaces in the neighborhood that they may or may not be able to activate on their own. And then we make room for new work and experiences. Artists that are a part of the BorderLight Festival are also able to go and see all of the fringe shows for free. And get into these shows and be able to kind of see their fellow artists' work and be inspired and just have the opportunity to see work from all over the country and all over the world. So I'm going to turn this over to Yasmin to talk a little bit about how BorderLight markets your shows.
Yeah. So can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, great. So we have some lists here. We really try hard. We have a dedicated team. Jen Vincent, who is our marketing strategist, is on the call today. We also have a digital marketing coordinator, all of us who work together to get the news out about your show. And that happens in various ways through digital marketing. So through all of our social media accounts. We also have an extensive list of press that we're sending press releases out to. We have, over 4,000 newsletter recipients. So, we're creating touch points to, let people be aware of your show and what's going on with the festival as a whole. Go to the next slide. We also are helpful in a way where we create copy and provide photos to the press in a form of a social media kit. So we kind of package it up pretty, nice and pretty so that it's something very easy that can translate for them. They don't have to necessarily do too much hard work to, get that messaging out as well. We also provide press with festival tickets and passes. In the past, we've given artists discount codes so that they can use that as an enticement for generating attendance to your shows. Oh, and we're also here as assistants in offering any feedback. So if you have any questions on any type of designs or posters or amplifying your own marketing efforts, you know, we are here as a resource for you to kind of email us and ask what may or may not be working. And another thing that we do is create Facebook events, or we ask you to create a Facebook event, and then we link it to the larger BorderLight Facebook. So again, just it's all about amplifying a message as a group. So it's really beneficial when the artist is doing that, and then BorderLight as well. Lots and lots of ways. We have in the past had media preview events. We're kind of playing with that idea this year, what may or may not happen with a media preview event, but that's inviting the media to, once we have programming locked down, we invite them, we give them more specifics about the shows. We usually have the program guide by then. So again, like we have, you know, pretty good relationships with the media. Recently, Josie was just on WKYC. So we continue those types of amplifications in different channels. Again, the festival guide, which I mentioned, which is a really great resource. We put all of the shows in that. All of the shows live on our website. And again, just always being here as a resource and providing assistance when needed. And then we have all of these channels, so you can find us on all of these places: TikTok, Instagram. So we're kind of trying to hit no matter where someone might be in a digital platform. Like we're trying to we are there and getting the messaging out. And you can also follow us if you're not. We're at BorderLight CLE. Thank you, Josie.
So I'm going to go through a couple of frequently asked questions really quickly before we open up the floor for you to ask us your questions. The first question here is there an application fee and are there other fees that I should know about? So yes, there is an application fee for the BorderLight application. It's $25. The website will lead you through the prompts to be able to find the payment information and then be able to attach that to your application. Depending on your technical needs. So if you are accepted into the festival, there is a production fee that is paid to the BorderLight team. That production fee helps us offset the costs of programming in some of these bigger spaces. So a production fee can be anywhere from about $50 to about $250 to $300, really depending on, like, if you need a really big space with a lot of technical needs, the fee would be about $300. But if you have a much smaller space, it would be $50. And we try our hardest to be fair as far as the size of the venue and your technical needs. Can I apply with more than one idea? Yes, you can absolutely apply with more than one idea, but that will mean applying a separate time. So don't smush everything into one application. I think the only time that makes a little bit of sense is if you are teaching a workshop that is kind of a supplement to your performance. You can include that information in your application as one application. But if you have something that is, I'm going to do a circus performance, but then I'm also going to do a reading, those are two different applications, and we ask that you apply with those as two separate ideas. Are there any other restrictions that I should consider? So there are a couple. Each individual space is a shared space. So if you are accepted into the festival, there are limitations to, like, if you have really big props that you need to store. A lot of our venues are very limited on storage space. We also ask that, because we are a festival and we expect audience members to experience multiple different shows in a day, we ask that your performance be no longer than an hour. We have made exceptions in the past, but if it is possible to get your show down to an hour or less, it really does help with our scheduling, but then also helps for the mental fatigue of our audience members who are there to see multiple different shows. A show can be we've had shows that are as short as 5 minutes, but we again ask that the shows be no longer than an hour. And then I get this question a lot. What are you looking for? I say that we're looking for you. We are the word fringe, right? As I mentioned earlier, encompasses a lot of different art forms. We do ask that there be some type of performance element to it. So like we are not necessarily a visual arts festival, but we did have an installation that came to the festival last year that was really an interactive kind of experience for audience members. So we've had we had a piece that happened in an elevator last year. We've had some circus work. We've had readings. We've had just proper straight plays. We've had comedy. We've had so many different things. So I'm looking for whatever idea that you have. And if you ever feel like, I don't know if this is going to be a good fit, feel free to ask now, or you can feel free to email me after this so that if you want to ask any specific questions about like if your show specifically will fit for the application process or what would make your application a stronger application so that we know that we're able to support you, please let me know. But again, the fringe, I don't know, umbrella encompasses a lot of things. And so there really is no limit to how far you can go. Does anyone want to add anything to any of these before I move on? Cool beans. Silence means no. Great. Okay, so we're coming to the end, and I want to lift up a couple of key dates for you to remember. So we are no longer calling it RFP, we are calling it Call for Artists. So I apologize, I'm just catching that now. So the Call for Artists opens October 30th. It opened, so it is readily available, and it closes February 4th, which is rapidly approaching. The festival this year is July 24th through the 27th. And then I just want to uplift that we have clinics that are coming up. And so I mentioned the ambassador program earlier, which is a new program that we're trying out to make the festival just more approachable for artists to be a part of it. And so we're trying out this kind of exploratory idea of having application clinics happen in the neighborhoods that we have ambassadors for. At those clinics, they're kind of there to serve you. So we will be on site for those dates for 3 hours at those individual spaces. But during that time, if you just need like for me, I know if I'm working on grants or just writing scripts, it's sometimes really helpful for me to have companionship. Don't talk to me, but like let me sit and write here. That's also possible. But we are also there to answer your questions if you get stuck on anything, just kind of being there as a friend to you as you're trying to apply to the festival. So those clinics are throughout this month. And then we have one now that is happening on Saturday, February 3rd. But they are throughout Cleveland. You can go to our Facebook page and look at our events to see which ones are going to be closest to you or which ones that you will be available for. You do not have to live in those particular neighborhoods in order to participate in those clinics, but we wanted to provide an opportunity for artists to better connect with the BorderLight team if they need to. And then that is it from me. Great. So I know that was a lot. I talk very fast and I provide lots of information. And so I want to open it up for questions. Did we see any questions in the chat that I can answer first? Cool beans. Does anybody have any questions who has joined us here in the Zoom?
I'd be interested in just asking the artists who are in attendance if there's anything that you might be hesitant, that might be holding you back from applying.
So I have a question that just entered the chat. This person has asked, hi, for shows that are offered and or presented as free and or unticketed, is there a stipend or a grant to help cover expenses? So yes, free shows are stipend work. We try to provide a stipend for artists according to kind of how many artists are a part of their troupe. We're re-examining the fees and the stipend that we will be able to provide for that, but we do provide a stipend. If you are accepted to the festival, we will tell you how much the stipend will be for before you accept. We also provide the opportunity for artists to what we call pass the hat. So you will see that in the application. If you want to take donations for your work, you will also be able to ask for money from your audience members. Last year, we opened the festival up to be able to allow artists to sell merch. And so this year, I believe that we will continue to do that. I will note that the city of Cleveland requires you to have a specific license to sell as a part of the festival. But if you are accepted into the festival, we try to do our best to make sure that you have all that information so that you know exactly what you're getting into and can make as much money as possible while you were at the festival. Another, yeah. So I have another question that says, I know that it's noted in the application that housing can't be guaranteed, but can you expand on any possible lodging support? So yes, as a part of the application, and I want to lift up that the BorderLight team knows that our application is a little bit extensive. We ask a lot of questions, and I understand that the application can be a little daunting, but I promise that we are not asking all of those questions frivolously. It really does help us make sure that we're able to support you. One of the sections that we have has to do with like financial assistance and need. And if you are coming from out of town and you need housing, we just ask that you let us know that you need housing and for how many people you will need housing for. We have a partnership with CSU, but then also we started a billeting, I was going to call it belaying, that is rock climbing, a billeting initiative where we also, if it's possible and you are interested, we pair you with a resident here in Cleveland, and so you have multiple opportunities to be supported and being able to have housing for the festival. Yeah, of course. Hi. Any other questions from the people?
Josie, hi.
Hi.
This is Regina, and I'm actually with Retta. We are going to be applying for a show together. And you mentioned, because our plan right now, I think, is to apply as a free presentation. And you mentioned that if we're accepted, that you would let us know what the stipend would be. And I'm curious if we see that and decide maybe it might be a better option for us to charge, would we have that option to then switch over?
Absolutely. So you spend a lot of I am going to be your main point of contact throughout the festival. So I am the main kind of artist liaison. I try to serve the artist as much as I possibly can. So if you say, hey, I don't think that this is going to be a good fit for me, I will go to my team and have that conversation. And then it will just be a matter of me communicating to my team that this show is now a ticketed show, and then make sure it goes to the proper channels so that it is represented properly on our website and through our ticketing.
I would just pipe up here to say we absolutely want to accommodate that as much as we can. The only reason that could be potentially an issue is if there's just not a space that's appropriate for the piece inside, or if we just have already used up all of our spaces at that point in time. So it would just depend on that.
And I will say, like at the point of, there is a point in the process where probably not. So like, let's say we get to May and we've already announced the festival and the festival guide has been printed and all of those things. We haven't had that happen yet, but if you, for some reason, change your mind, what we've communicated is what we try to stick to. And so if you do early on say like, hey, I think this will be a better fit to be ticketed or a better fit to be free, just let me know so that I can communicate that to my team in a timely manner so that we can make sure that everything reflects what it is that you would require.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Of course.
It's also worth flagging that the work that we present outside is always free. So that's a factor as well.
I have a couple more in the chat, I think. You want to speak to? Oh, never mind. Is it possible? Okay, great. Is it possible the application fee to be waived? So yes, there is some room for application fees to be waived. We are doing that on kind of a person-to-person basis. But there is the opportunity for that. We're mostly keeping the opportunity for the application clinics. But if you write to the team and say like, hey, I really do have this financial need, we are happy to consider waiving the application fee. Samantha has asked, to clarify, for free and or non-ticketed productions, there is still the 25 application fee and the minimum $50 production fee. Yes, that is correct. But again, inside of the application process, there is a space for you to say, hey, I really cannot afford to pay this application fee. And we will make sure that if you have let us know, that we do try to either decrease that the fee for production or waive it entirely depending on your needs. I think that answered your question. Yes. Other questions?
I'd love to know how, sorry, how everyone heard about the Q&A.
This is Aretta from Atlanta. I'm happy to say hi. Lucky enough to have been a previous artist, so I'm on the mailing list and always keeping my eyes open for BorderLight. And because Regina has not had the great pleasure to be in the festival, we thought, let's join and just see if there have been any changes or anything else we should be aware of. So first it was the newsletter and then just following on Facebook since then.
Awesome.
Are there no more questions from people? Hi, Lori.
Hi, I told the people that were coming to my application clinic,
Mhm.
try to get on the question and answer today. So that if they had any questions, they would be able to talk to you guys about exactly what they needed.
Mhm.
Yeah, I emailed them all.
I appreciate it. If they still have questions, we've recorded this, so it'll be available for them if they still want to at least see the conversation.
Okay.
Catherine says that she heard about it through social media. Shout out to the marketing team. Cool beans. More questions going once, going twice. This is unheard of. Go ahead.
The BorderLight staff has the most questions. Josie, can we talk about, Dale, like what they might expect next? So obviously we do have the application deadline, February 3rd. Maybe we could talk about dates when they should hear back, or, okay.
I also wanted to highlight that we have tech and marketing staff here. We have, logistics and marketing staff here if anybody has questions for them.
And so I'll just answer Yasmin's question. So the application closes on February 4th. Everyone will hear back from the BorderLight team about whether you've been accepted or not to the festival by March 8th. We will also let you know, sometimes we put people on a waiting list where we really would like for them to be a part of the festival, but we just don't have any more room in the festival schedule for them to be participants. And so we will put you on a waiting list. And then if somebody who was accepted is unable to be a part of the festival, we usually will roll back around to our wait list to incorporate them into the festival. But if you are waitlisted, if you were accepted, or if you or we are not able to program your work, you will know all of that information on March 8th. Gail, did you, oh, cool. Anyone else? This is hilarious. I'm telling you, I answer so many questions, and this is just, the fact that nobody has questions is baffling for me. Pertaining to music. Okay, here's a question. A question is coming. You just want me to cover music as kind of an umbrella? I can do that. Okay, so no, there are no particular preferences for music. We are a theater festival. I will start with that. And so a lot of the times we do not accept applicants that are just applying to the festival as like, I just want to play a show, right? Play a music show, like in the traditional sense. We have had shows that are like musicals. We've had shows that have kind of opera and circus aerial work that are a part of them. But just note that like if you are a traditional, let's say band or singer-songwriter, we don't necessarily, because this is a performing arts festival and this is a theater festival first and foremost, we do tend to lean towards shows that have some level of theatrics a part of it. I will say that we've signed our, I don't know the right terminology around this. We have relationships with ASCAP and BMI where we have the rights to have music that is licensed, that we do not have the royalties to. We have the license to be able to play those songs at our festival. So if you do have songs that you do not have the rights to, just make sure that you say that in your application. But we do have the bandwidth to have, like, if you know there are songs that are played or cover songs that you're doing as a part of your shows, we have some workarounds for that. I hope that answers. There's no genre that we're looking for though, and as far as music, we've had it all. I'm so happy to help. You're very welcome.
Hi Josie. How does
Hi.
that music thing apply to somebody who's applying for a workshop? Let's say, I'm going to teach a workshop on, I don't know, Sardinian singing or something like that. Where that's not necessarily theatrical, but it's a workshop around a certain thing.
I think that I would lean towards that being something that would be considered, definitely. I think that singing is a part of theater as well as like when you're trying to create your own work, creating music that is from your own background or your own culture. So I would lean on that being something that would be okay. And then singing is a part of technique, wanting artists to be able to exchange knowledge with one another. Exchanging technique, I think, is a part of that. So I would lean on that.
Thank you.
Of course. It's good to see you.
You say that as I disappear.
Oh, it's okay. I've seen you.
I have a question, Josie. Some of my artists are spoken word or rap artists that want to do something in a theatrical way. Would that kind of music be accepted? And is there something, I mean, I don't know what you're looking for the thing to be acted out, perhaps the song to be acted out. If it's original, it's not something that is already recorded. Or is that not what we're looking for?
So I would say absolutely. So spoken word artists, hip hop artists, musicians in general, I think are 100% accepted. And we welcome that. I think when we say some type of theatrical element to it, it can mean a lot of different things. So I don't want to put them in a specific box necessarily. We did have an artist that was a part of the festival last year that was a hip hop artist and a spoken word artist. His work was it was like a presentation. So it was a presentation of like his life, but then he also recited some poems. He talked to us. There were monologues that were a part of it. So it was like monologues and then like a song maybe, and then like monologues and then like a poem or like some amalgamation of all of those things together. I would not have been able to tell him to do that. So like, but he wanted to try something different because there was a theatrical element that was a part of the festival. So I would say if they have ideas about how they can present their work in a theatrical form, I think that that's great. But if they are having a little bit of trouble, I would say have them reach out to me. And I'm happy to talk to them through kind of thinking through what they could potentially do to add a more theatrical element to their work.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Gail said she would call him a storyteller who used music as a core art form, and it was wonderful. He was a person that did not have any theater background, and he just kind of decided to take a leap and be a part of the festival, and I really appreciated him being present. But I would not have been able to tell him to do what he did. But he found a way to mix all of the things that were a part of his art form into a presentation. It was beautiful. Other questions? Other concerns? You can always email me. Like I said, I keep saying I try to make myself as available as possible to artists, just to make it as easy as possible, to feel like you have a face that you can speak to and feel like I'm happy to be, what do they call it? I was going to say a thought board, an opportunity for you to kind of throw ideas back and forth, or if you are like, oh, I feel apprehensive, or etc. I want to make sure that you know that I am here to be as helpful as humanly possible.
I just placed a link as a reference to the performer that everyone's been speaking about.
Thank you.
Great. Going once, going twice for additional questions. Okay. All right. Again, if you don't feel comfortable asking questions in this forum, please feel free to reach out to us individually. I am happy, again, to talk to you about any other questions that you have. And then if you feel like you want to join us, we have the application clinics. We have 3 that are coming up on Saturday, January 13th. There will be one in the Brooklyn neighborhood, one in the Buckeye Woodhill neighborhood, and then one in the another neighborhood. I'm blanking.
Is it Slavic Village?
It's another one. We have lots. We have 9 different neighborhoods that we're serving. So but go to our Facebook page to look at the events. If you are interested, Collinwood, that's not this weekend, that's the following weekend. But if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out or join us for an application clinic. They're free. We will be there for 3 hours if you just need some friendship accountability, or it's to ask us a bunch of questions. Great. Thank you all so much. Have a beautiful rest of your evening.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Lori. Great to see you.
I'll see you on Saturday.
Bye. Well, nice job.